any kind of situation that's morally murky in that way, I'm very attracted to as a writer, and I wanted to explore it. So I just kind of thought of this scene in my head, and in the scene there was, of course, a graveyard and a big iron fence, and on one side were the grave robbers, and I was trying to figure out what else these guys would need, and I realized they'd need a horse and carriage for the bodies, and they would need a lookout of some kind, and I decided that lookout should be a young boy, and as I was physically describing the boy, I realized that he was missing his left hand. And as soon as I realized this kid was missing his left hand, he just opened up for me as a character, and I realized this was actually going to be a novel, not a short story, and it was all going to be about this kid and how stories like Treasure Island and, you know, Dickens stories because the more I wrote about these resurrection men, the more I realized that what was kind of fascinating me was this idea of resurrection itself in different forms, both sort of physical and spiritual. And I realized that this book was actually going to be an homage in many ways to the childhood stories that I loved and read when I was little, and those were those boyhood action-adventure stories. But the characters, for the most part, are all pretty much made up, except for Mrs. Sands. She's kind of based on several women in my family who are exactly like that.
You got some
That sort of gory stuff, it doesn't really affect me that much. I try to sort of temper it a bit, but it's in all of my writing. And my only explanation for it is I grew up in Salem, Massachusetts.